While many may not be aware of California's involvement in the Civil War, the Drum Barracks played a significant role in the conflict. Initially established as Camp San Pedro in January 1862, the Drum Barracks consisted of 5 companies. In December 1863, the post's name was changed to Camp Drum in honor of Lieutenant Colonel Richard Drum, the Assistant Adjutant General of the Department of California. Later on, the Drum Barracks was the name given to it. At the time, there was uncertainty regarding whether California would align with the North or the South, as the state was roughly evenly split in its sympathies. Particularly in the southern half, especially around Los Angeles, there was a pro-secession sentiment. This prompted the government to establish a presence in the area. The post was supposedly constructed to enable troops to combat Native American tribes, although there were no tribes in the area to engage in conflict with. Despite the absence of indigenous peoples, over $1 million were spent on constructing the post, a considerable sum for that era. Upon completion in 1863, the buildings were remarkably elegant, greatly impressing the local residents. Spread across 60 acres of land, with an additional 37 acres near the harbor, the post was designed to accommodate around 500 soldiers and provide stabling for up to 300 horses. Positioned around a large central parade ground were various facilities, including the hospital, barracks, and laundresses' quarters. The post swiftly emerged as the primary hub for staging, training, and supplying military operations in the Southwest. Throughout the Civil War, approximately 17,000 Californians passed through the barracks as they journeyed back east to join the Union forces. On April 13, 1862, Colonel James Henry Carleton led about 2,300 California volunteers from California through Arizona and New Mexico to counter the Confederate invasion of the Rio Grande Valley from Texas. This march was recognized as the longest and most challenging of the Civil War. Ultimately, the California troops successfully secured the territory that comprises present-day Arizona and New Mexico for the Union. Following the Union victory in the Civil War, Camp Drum retained its presence, dispatching soldiers to engage in the Indian Wars in the Southwest. The post was ultimately deactivated in November 1871. However, the hospital, renowned as the best-equipped medical facility west of the Mississippi River at the time, remained operational, providing care for wounded soldiers for an additional 2 years. After the hospital ceased operations, the land returned to its original owner, and the buildings were auctioned off for a total of $6,357. While some structures were relocated, others remained on site, including the junior officers' quarters. Over the years, this building served various purposes, including as a high school, a private residence, and a boarding house. By the early 1960s, only 2 buildings remained: the powder magazine and the junior officers' quarters. The latter was scheduled for demolition in 1962. However, community organizations rallied to save it, preserving the historic structure. In 1987, the renovated structure welcomed visitors as the Drum Barracks Civil War Museum. Situated in Wilmington, California, a neighborhood within the city of Los Angeles near the Port of Los Angeles, it stands as the sole significant American Civil War site in Southern California. Today, the museum honors California's role in the Civil War and hosts various reenactments and activities throughout the year. Additionally, the historic powder magazine remains intact, situated at the intersection of Opp and Eubank Streets. If the Drum Barracks' fascinating past isn't enough, there's a belief that the historic structure is a frequent site of paranormal activity. Over time, both museum staff and visitors have frequently reported hearing inexplicable noises, like the dragging of chains and footsteps echoing through the halls when no one else is around. Additional accounts suggest sightings of a woman known as Maria, who allegedly appears in a hoop skirt and emits a strong scent of lavender and violet perfume. Others claim to have seen the ghostly figure of a man in a 19th-century officer's uniform, often accompanied by the distinct smell of pipe smoke lingering throughout the museum. The model room is the center of most activity, with numerous reports of tobacco and perfume scents, along with strange sounds of items shuffling and footsteps sneaking up from behind. The ghostly occurrences at the Drum Barracks have gained attention in books and television programs,